After me. Target acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike. You have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Welcome back again, my friends. How are you? Let us see who is in our presence today. All right, Anson Knowles is back. I see you there, brother. Good to see you, man. I think you were telling me that you were kind of shadow banned previously. Jack is in the house as one of his alts. That's okay. All right. 13, how are you, sir? Joe Mobley in the house. Awesome. We got Mr. in the house. We'll quit throwing him up on the screen just so I can go faster. Mr. is in the house. Damien, our parkour expert, is in the house. And I remind you one more time that he has his own channel, and it's really good. You guys should go watch. Let's do it. All right, let's see. What else? Who else? We got Siege D in the house. Welcome, sir. Good morning. Raging Patriot, I see you out there, sir. Michelle is in the house, one of our lovely mods. The rest of our mods are gruff. No, Michelle is not gruff. No less dangerous, just not gruff. Steve Easy says we have an Insane Wheels raid. Awesome. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Mikey Balls in the house. Carney's Ride. I see you up there. Glare 1%er. What's up, buddy? How you doing? I don't know you, but you're a friend of Mikey's. You're a friend of mine. Ghost Eagle. Let's see, what is it? Hold on. Whoops. So lost my place. So let's see. Ghost Eagle Guardian. I see you up there. All right, cool. That's good. And we have, I got to scroll down all the way. There we go. Let's see who else we've got. Got to scroll all the way down the list. You guys are having a good time out there. America Uncensored. That's good. We don't need to be censored too much. Basically, not at all. All right, that's how that is. Evil Rick. That's what's up. Kevin L is in the house. What's up, buddy? I need to call you later. I'll do that. TR Finley is in the house. Moto Noggin. What's up? What's up to you too, sir? What is up? All right, man. We got some people in here. We got it. That's what's going on. Let's make it happen, Captain. All right. I'm sure there'll be other people. There are people that I missed. If I missed you, don't take it personally. I was just going through the list as quickly as I could. I appreciate each and every person that watches the show, whether I can call you out for it or not. You guys, that's all right. All right, guys. So today what we're going to talk about is something that is near and dear to my heart. Maybe not as dear and dear to many of you guys, because I don't know how many of you are parents. I'm a parent twice over. I have a 14-year-old and I have a 4-year-old. Well, he'll be 4 at the end of this month. And 10 years apart. It's a perfect spread. If you can manage it, it's worth happening. But I'm going to stay away from the election, at least for the first half of the show. We're going to talk about kids. We're going to talk about what our society is doing to kids. And this comes up because on Friday, I get a call from the daycare that my son, went out of focus there. That's all right. It'll come back. The daycare where my son goes, he's in preschool, whatever. They call me up and they say, hey, he's having a little bit of trouble getting his nap, whatever. Could you talk to him? Sure. And I tell him, hey man, you got to calm down. And then, basically he's he wants to go home. He doesn't want to nap. He's running around the school. He's being a little bit disruptive, or running around his classroom, being a little bit disruptive. But the thing that really seemed to bother them was the fact that he was attempting to open the doors to the classroom, and I don't know what else. So I talked to him. Hey, buddy, let's knock it off. I'll be there shortly to pick you up. It's okay. Don't worry about it. So I didn't think anything about it. About 20 minutes later, I get a call. Hey, could you come pick up your son early? He's being really disruptive. He's running around the classroom. And what's most importantly is he's trying to open the door because he says he's going home right now. Okay. So I went down there, picked him up. I didn't think this was that big an issue, and I didn't actually understand why they were having such a big issue with it, because as near as I could tell, he wasn't really doing anything actually wrong. He wasn't. He was just trying to open the doors, and they knew that he could not open the doors. I said that's kind of the way it works, guys. It kind of is, you know. All right, so whatever. I didn't. I didn't particularly take it that seriously. I went down, picked him up, and all of that. But it got me thinking about something that happened with my other son when he was in first grade, a couple of years from now for my current son. And that is that it seemed like at every opportunity, the teacher was not actually doing anything in the classroom that I would have considered productive or reliable or anything like that. And instead, it seemed to be this. They were just basically minding the schools, you know, basically being a babysitter, maybe teaching them a little bit, and it was really put the beanie back on. No, that was funny. I'll do that in a minute. I'll do that in a minute, Jack. But the at the end of the day, when my youngest son was in from first grade until about third or fourth grade, every year I would have to talk to the teacher about how my son didn't want to focus in school. He was way more interested in drawing. Angel Berber, I don't know. What's up, Imperious? I see you out there. Welcome, Angel Berber. Good to see you out there. Right now, I'm not really too. I mean, like the election's like kind of the least thing on my mind right now. So, but I'll see if I may do something with those guys. At any rate, so I don't know if you've noticed, but in society today, when there are any problems with your children in school, the first thing that school is going to recommend, even though it's against the law for them to do so in most cases, is that your child see their doctor about being placed on medication. They use terms like evaluated and examined and things like that. But what they're really saying is that, hey, your little boy doesn't act like a little girl, so we've got to we need to tone them down. And they'll talk about various options that you should consider as an adult, right? That you should you know, it's for your child's good, right? And the reality is they just want to drug your children. They just want your kids they just want little boys to act like little girls. They're not willing, quite honestly, to put in the time it takes to deal with actual active little boys. They just don't want to. Okay. And the answer is always just give them a pill. It's never, well, maybe we ought to do this, or maybe we ought to try that, or whatever. It's just simply go to your doctor, give them a pill. And that's the end of it. And again, I'm seeing this right now. And I've seen this in the past with my sons, and look, they are rambunctious little boys. They are. I raised my sons to be men. They're out. They run around. They break things. They act out. They will. They'll punch me in the leg. They will do things. Um, um, Angel Berber, yes, currently my son is fine. He did not get into trouble. They wrote up a whole thing and sent it home with me about his behavior. So it's always about them being less boy, because I'm telling you, my sons are always willing and ready and able to cause or wreak havoc at any point in time. They're energetic. They don't sit on the couch all day. They have a lot of energy, and there's lots of things that they want or they want to do. And to be honest, that's the way it should be. Now, my sons do, for the most part, mind their manners. But let's be honest, if a teacher tells them to do something, they're very likely to say at this point in their lives, because they're young, or my youngest is very young, they're very likely to say, nah, I don't think so. You're not my dad. and just keep rolling. I mean, it's a toss up on whether or not they're going to be willing to listen to anything any other adult says at this point. Now, as they get older, right, and they understand things and they're taught more, they will understand that when an adult of any adult says to do something, then you at least, more or less act like it. Michelle says, boys are boys. I have 3. They are a blast. I'm so glad I didn't have girls. I would have made a bad girl mom. Yes, that's probably true, Michelle. Cheers to you for not having girls, I guess. But it's an interesting thing that now my youngest son is actually worse than my oldest son. My oldest son, he had that energy and he had this little bit of disobedience, but once he learned how to read, he preferred to sit and read or draw or that kind of thing, as much as he did wreaking havoc. But he did. Um, the um, the but my youngest son, it's taking him a little bit of time to actually listen to people that are not family, right? That if you tell him to do something, he's just going to laugh at you. Literally, like, and he doesn't mean he disrespect. He can't disrespect you because he doesn't know what respect is yet. He's 3, almost 4. But at the same time, if you tell him go do this, he's gonna laugh. He's gonna giggle at you and run off in the opposite direction. I promise you. And that's just him. That's just a boy being a boy. And I don't understand I don't understand how professional educators, people who in theory have studied this, they are supposed to understand this. They are supposed to be qualified to look after our children, and they don't understand this, right? It's crazy. Yes, Angel Berber, as in my household, we do the best we can to burn that energy off. He trikey, he runs around everywhere. I will literally chase him around the house, just having fun, and anything to try and get him down to the point where he is at least reasonably reactive, right? So I don't know. I don't know how that's um it just seems like that for some reason society's forgotten that boys will be boys. That's just how it is. You watch the old TV shows like Andy Taylor or Andy Taylor, Sheriff Taylor, whatever it is. I can't think of the name of that show now. Andy, um, not Andy Griffith, right? Whatever it is. Um, and you watch those old TV shows, and you saw Opie running around with a slingshot. You, am I frozen? I think they're doing something around here. Am I really frozen? Is it back? Andy Griffin, thank you. Back. Okay, cool. Cool. All right. I don't know. That was weird. All right. Well, it sucks that I'm lagging. I don't know. I mean, everything's plugged in and good to go. If it happens again, I'll check something there. But all right. So anyway, guys. So I mean, if you watch the old TV shows, Andy Griffin, whatever, Opie Taylor is out there shooting a slingshot, breaking stuff, all that kind of things. You watch an old movie like John Wayne, you'll see boys out there running around with hand carved guns, shooting them wild engines and all of that. But they're still doing their chores, but they're having fun and they're burning off that energy and they're being better people. You know what I mean? They're just doing the good thing, and more importantly, they're really learning how to be good people. You know what I mean? Like it's a good day for everybody. So, man, I don't know. It's a ridiculously stark contrast to um, what we have now, where we have the classroom versus what we used to have, where kids were outdoors most of the day, and um, it worked out fine for us, you know. And I mean, even in preschool, man, like you're really not going to get a 3 or 4 year old kid to sit down at the same time every day and take a nap, you know. Um, and actually, this is actually exactly where I'm kind of heading with this. The other thing, well, let me back up a second. So look, I do know that they make the effort, right? These staff people, these people that we release our kids to on a daily basis in schools and preschools and even all the way up to college. They do make the effort to at least try. But consider this, guys, that these kids are really rambunctious, but the staff are handicapped by us, by parents who there are parents out there that would, if you do something bad to their kid, they will be the warpath. When I was in when I had kids in Colorado and California, I had my one son went to preschool in Colorado, and he went to kindergarten, first grade in California, and it was bad. I mean, it's just bad. The teachers can't discipline the kids. The teachers can't say anything to them really. Um, and if they do, if they lay one finger on a kid, they're going to be really, really in trouble by somebody. Somebody's going to have a problem with it, no matter what they do, and it's going to be bad for everyone. Throughout history, boys have fought, right? Little boys have fought each other. They pulled girls' hair. They've been mischievous. I wouldn't say mean, but mischievous. And you just can't get around these facts. But now our government really wants parents to feel safe when they drop off little Johnny at school. Nobody can do anything. There can't be any fighting. The kid can't come home with a black eye. I came home with a black eye. My parents were like, what did you do? What happened? And why did you let it get that far? It was never, oh, I'm blaming the teachers. I would never, my parents would have done that. But they basically, even when I did it, we were just doing things that made us better humans down the road, right? But now all that's gone away. If little Johnny, smacks little Susie, he's arrested, right? I mean, that happens. You can literally a second grader can be arrested for for smacking another second grader. So, and you just can't do it anymore. It's like, I mean, it's all gone away, guys. But and as part of that, the consequences have gotten much more severe. When we look at what happened since we infantilize kids up to and in college, when we infantilize people and then suddenly one day they're an adult, or suddenly one day they're oh, Grumplestiltskin's got my link somehow. I wasn't going to have any guests just yet. Grump, if you're okay chilling in the back until I finish this monologue, I will be glad to bring you up. But I mean, it's just pretty terrible. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to go ahead and bring Grump up. What's up, Grump?
Good morning, good afternoon, sir, depending on your time zone. No, this this topic was it kind of hit.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's an interesting. I've talked a little bit about this before. I've never really gone deep into it. It's an interesting topic to me because I've literally had I've had teachers sit across from me knowing that legally they cannot tell me to that my because they're not doctors, but that they can't legally tell me to that there's a problem with my kid. But what they're actually saying is that they believe my kid has a learning disability or ADHD or any of these other any of these other alphabet soup self-diagnosis out there. That and what they really want is they wanted him to be drugged into submission, right? They just wanted him to sit in his chair and behave. And
that hits hard because that happened to me in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm sure a lot of the latchkey children, the feral Gen X / the maybe elder millennials, I guess the last of the feral latchkey generation, where they just wanted to medicate us.
Yeah, absolutely. That's, I think, where it all started, is that all of a sudden here's an answer, right? Like all of a sudden, because like my parents, of course, we were dirt poor. So my parents just put it down to, my brothers and I were just so used to picking on each other that we picked on other kids at school. that we were, that my brothers just weren't interested in schoolwork, and they were going to end up being they were going to end up being laborers anyway, so why did it matter? And so it was it's an entire thing, right, with my parents. But at the same time, from my point of view, as growing up in that age, I was watching my friends get medicated over and over, and it just changed them completely, right? So, and we're dealing with those effects now.
It's a really slippery. I don't want to say a slippery slope fallacy, but it's a very much it's a thing where
Hmm.
some of these medications are life changing in the
Oh yeah,
positive for some people that need them.
yeah, absolutely.
As an adult, I got onto some ADHD medication, and it was literally life changing. Or I've been able to get some stuff done that I've been trying to get done for the last 10 years and 15 years, just in the last less than a year from
Yeah,
stimulants. I'll be honest with it. Full transparency, yes, out of stimulants. However, the uh, the downside is that I think they still are way overprescribed, and I don't know that what I have is actually a malady either, like ADHD. Even though I technically have it, I still don't know it's a thing. Maybe it's just laziness. However, it's like depression plus PTSD plus ADHD plus what name a list of friggin' maladies, and one medication helps me get shit done.
yeah.
I don't know. It's not a cure all. It's 100% not a cure all.
Well, you know that it's actually way worse than that. Did you know that if you actually start looking at the statistics, the the last study done, I believe by the University of Michigan, the last study the last credible study was done, is they found that schools with a typical um, percentage um, of ADHD drug use, or medicated students, which is about 12%, which seems high to me, right? So it's about 12% of the student body is on some form of prescribed daily medication for, you know, mood or whatever. Of that 12%, 8%, over 8% admit to abusing their prescription drugs. They use more than they are supposed to for various things. And
If they're able to do that, they probably shouldn't have been prescribed it in the first place at all.
yeah, and
I didn't mean to interrupt you. My bad.
that's all right. Beyond that, they are something like, so that 12% that are already prescribed, they're not only are they likely to give away some of their medication to their friends, so now we don't know how many are actually on these drugs. They're
Or
also,
sell them.
or sell them. Shockingly, I was being nice. Shockingly, something like
Fred's a lot
40%
nicer than
of that
Grumple.
12%, something like 40% of that 12% abuse other drugs later in life. So that it's like, if you are allowing your kids to do this, sure, you might be one of the 60-ish% that are unaffected, but you might be part of the 40% whose kid becomes a drug addict and turns to meth or something else to get that next level. So, or they're just so used to doing pills. I think it's, honestly, I just think it's just they get so used to doing pills that they just don't care anymore. It's just, yeah, just give me that. It's fine.
And how do
So,
they get to that point of thinking like, hey, let me just take pills to solve my problems? How do they get to that
well,
point?
because that's what they're told. Hey, you can't sit still. Here's a pill. Hey, you can't focus and get your homework done. Here's a pill.
There's there's some factor of it of, hey, boys are going to be boys. Boys are going to be rambunctious. Boys are going to be
There
uncontrollable
should
for
be.
sometimes. There's a piece of that. That's just nature.
Yeah.
I pardon my French, we fucked up in the 80s with ascribing all the boys behave having boy behavior, having just
Mhm.
ADD or ADHD in the
Yeah.
80s and early 90s and into the 90s, and then prescribing all this medication for things that wasn't good and wasn't helpful. For some, for a very small fraction, yeah. I
No, I agree with that. I think that's pretty accurate, honestly.
Yeah, and I hate I I really wish I wasn't so that I wouldn't have to, like, yeah, I'm apparently one of them. I'm one of those degenerate idiots that needs it to really concentrate and get stuff done. Because I've had failings for the last 25 years that
Yeah.
as soon as I got onto a stimulant, like just a one a day, just in the morning, it doesn't like get you high. If you need it, it doesn't get you high or loopy or anything. It doesn't even feel like drinking or anything like that. It's just like lets you actually pay attention for
Mm.
more than a half hour or whatever at a time, and you can get
Yeah.
shit done.
So Steve Easy says, I've seen it from the other side of the table. My old lady has tried to help tons of kids whose parents didn't want their children to get any help and act like their child is completely fine. Sure. There are a lot of people in denial out there. Thank you, Steve Easy. There's a lot of people in denial out there. And I think that the reality that we have to face,
I'm still in
well,
denial.
the first thing is to face reality, right? Look, if your kid is not being a good guy, right? If your kid is if your kid's constantly having problems and you can't handle them at home and all of that, there's ways to fix that without medication. And you may just need to look at, you may just not be uh, acting in a way that puts you out to be a good parent. Let's call it what it is. You may not be a good parent. You may need to look at what you as a parent are doing and say, fuck, I fucked up. You know?
This is
Um,
true. Not everybody is like gonna be a like the
yeah.
quote good parent. You have to have in order to get the consistency that's needed for children. It's the same as training dogs. It's the same as like anything. Training troops. It's the same as for kids. You have to have
Sure.
almost infinite patience
Well, and
and
well, you also
consistency.
have to have support. So, like, and I actually think it's interesting you brought up training troops. So, I went to a military school. We trained a
I
lot. We
know.
had a very military cadre sort of dynamic going on, and it was always interesting to me that when I went to a public school, just to even look around, how fucking disorganized everything was and how bad it was. But all of those people, all of and now understand that the kids did it all. The adults were in theory only there for health and safety, right? So our cadre was a true cadre. Like we had the all of the leadership was done through students. The staff were there to teach us like textbooks and shit, or instruct us, which was other things, or for health and safety. They weren't there to set our schedule. They weren't there to tell us where to be. They weren't there to be our mom and dad.
For in that curriculum or in that classroom setting, were the older students the ones teaching the younger students, or was it all straight like, hey, yeah, learn out of the book or you're fucked?
No, no, no. So you would have teachers, right, for your academics, right? But like, let's just say that because you have a lot of time on campus, right? This is actually a good discussion. So you'd have a lot of time on
Yeah.
campus. So what do you do if you have 5 groups of 10 kids each, young men with a lot of energy, a lot of testosterone, running around a campus? What do you do? Well, you do work projects. You build things around campus. You do you have them create the work projects, right? So you don't the staff doesn't say, "Hey, you know what would be really cool is because there was actually a creek that surrounded the entrance, which was the only way into the property, and it would flood about once every 2 or 3 years. It would flood, and you could not get in or out except over a rope bridge, a two rope bridge. And so you had first of all, fat people couldn't get out because you had to be at least mildly athletic to even get across a two rope bridge. And second, it limited what you could bring in and out of the property, right? And so they're like, wouldn't it be nice if we built a footbridge that was up higher in an elevated position across? And so the students built that, right? So you have a work project.
It's a great project.
You have, and there's always, and we were always building some shit or cleaning something or reorganizing something. We'd take all of the equipment out of the equipment shed and put it all back. All the tractors, all the yard stuff, all of it. Just take it out, wash it, put it back. So you probably understand how this kind of works. You were in the military, and this was very similar, right? Except you go to class 5 hours a day, right? You have a number of subjects. You go to class 5 hours a day. Then you had there were some other things. You had chapel, obviously, depending on your denomination, and there, it was you lived there. You didn't have any choice, and you weren't going anywhere, right? Like we went to town once a week. Like we weren't walking downtown to anywhere because downtown was about 30 miles away. So, so it was a good time, and to do that focuses you to force a lot of energy. But I guess that's a roundabout way to say that the staff were there to, when I say they were there to teach, I meant the academic teachers. There were instructors if something specific needed to be instructed, like firearms, right? And they had firearms instructors. If the sports teams, they had coaches, right? If you wanted, there were instructors that were either on site as needed or were there or had a regular class there, depending on what we were doing, what you're talking about. So, it takes kids that have a massive amount of energy and gives them a place to focus that, right? It gives them something and some responsibility and skin in the game. Plus, when you put 10 kids together in a group, and I keep saying kids, we were all young men. You would take 10 young men and put them together and make them all responsible for each other. And I remember I had this great, I don't know if I've told you this, Ron, you're going to love this. So one of my fondest memories of being at my military school that doesn't involve typical fond memory stuff is we had this kid come in, and he's from Atlanta, and his dad was very, very wealthy, built shopping malls and shit like that. So he made millions and millions of dollars. And this kid was just not a he was a kid that gave zero fucks. And so he has this so you understand, I know that you probably had a locker or a foot locker or something that had to be inspected every week or every few days or whatever, and you would have a field day. So every week we field day our bay. And our bay is where we slept. Okay?
Usually Thursday is field day. Or just
well, it was usually Saturday or Sunday for us. So depending on whether or not we had whether or not we
at
had
a school, that makes more sense. Yeah.
We had kitchen duty. If we had kitchen duty, it was Saturday because we field dayed the kitchen on Sunday. If we didn't have kitchen duty, then we would do it on Sunday. So that's just how that worked. And so we every week you have field day, and there's a prescribed manner in which all of your stuff has to be stored. So like you have a foot locker, and in that foot locker, there's all of your items, and there's a very specific way the pants have to be rolled up and put in there. The shirts have to be rolled up, put in there. The your socks, everything. There's a tray, and then there's what you can have in there and the order it can be in. So if you have a Bible or whatever, that has
You're
to be
talking wall locker
here.
inspections.
Huh?
You're talking wall locker inspections where it's like everything has to be set up exactly, and if it's not on the list, it's not going to be in there. Also, just quick, I sent you a Discord DM just to let you know something. Just
okay. So one of the major rules, there were two major rules. Number one, all books had to be in that top shelf. And if they didn't fit, you couldn't have them, right? So because they didn't want people having 7 or 8 books from the library in their possession, the easiest way to do that is just, you can't have it because it doesn't fit. And so that was rule number one that's important to this story. The second was there was never any food of any kind that was not sealed in a package allowed in a Foot Locker. Right. So you couldn't take a snack from the dining hall and bring it and just store it in your Foot Locker. And
back in training times, that would be that would be like an opportunity for enhanced training.
Oh, this was great. So
be the one that does that.
Yeah. So and the guy who ran my group, he ran several groups. He ran my group as well. His name was Colonel Tim Spain. He was a great man. He's no longer with us, but Colonel Spain was as jovial a human being as you could ask for, but he brooked no nonsense when it came to how things are supposed to be. And so Colonel Spain's like going through and he's checking the Foot Lockers. Everybody is on it. And this dude, he gets this dude's Foot Locker and he opens it up and he looks down and you can just see the glee enter his eyes as he sees not only more books than were supposed to be, but there were books underneath the shelf. You know what I'm talking about. In a Foot Locker, they have a shelf that you can lift in and out, tray, shelf, whatever. And
the Foot Lockers had like there's like 2 trays, one on the top of the left and one on the top on the right, and you put them in there and like that.
Right.
That's how you organize it. That's the only organization you get.
That's where you keep your watch and whatever, your the pennies that you have, whatever shekels you own. And that's where you'd put that. Well, the first egregious thing was there was a book under the tray. So that was bad. But the second egregious thing was there was food, like a muffin or something in a saran wrap that was underneath there as well. And Colonel Spain just lit up with joy. And so he tossed that guy's Foot Locker and he said, "We'll do it over. I'll be back in 15 minutes. Needs to be sat. If anything's unsat, I'm throwing everybody's gear downstairs."
For anybody who doesn't know what he's saying, sat is satisfactory. Sat and unsat. Sat is unsatisfactory.
Right.
But
it is a clipped language. So
in my older age, so I got out. I got out as a sergeant of Marines.
Okay.
It wasn't even then. It's more now like in middle age that I really get it. That fucking with your troops, fucking with your guys is literally for their best interest. It's for their own good.
Oh, it absolutely is. Yeah.
It's 100% training them to not fuck up so much and to be aware of the things that are important, the little details. It's not really fuck games, because that's what everybody thinks a lot of military stuff is fuck games. It's not, and pardon my French, just that's what it's called.
It's all right.
It's not necessarily it's not, it's 100%. If you have a good leader, unless that leader actually hates you because you banged his girlfriend or something, if it's not that leader fucking with you is actually trying to help you.
Yeah.
and you're
So
not going to understand it until way later.
yeah, so Colonel Spain came back about 15 minutes later, and we had all encouraged Greg to get rid of the muffin altogether. So he ate that. And he needed to have there were some other things too. A couple of things was he didn't really have his shirts and stuff rolled the way they were supposed to be, and he had it kind of organized a little weird, which I guess he liked better. Well, I don't know. Maybe he just didn't care. So then, but again, and he, unbeknownst to us, he had actually slipped the book back in, which I didn't know what he was going to do with the book anyway. Ideally, he would have asked someone to hold it for him and just put it in their locker so that, somebody that had room. But nobody did that. So Colonel Spain comes back in, performs
That could have turned into a hold my beer situation, but
yeah.
I digress. Please continue.
Yeah. So Colonel Spain comes back in, repeats the inspection, smiles as he picks up Greg's footlocker and throws it over the banister down 2 flights of stairs. And then he did that with all of our footlockers, because if one of us gets it wrong, we all get it wrong. We're all in it together. And
a lot of people rally against that concept also, but it makes unit cohesion.
It really does. It makes it so that
it really helps.
Nobody that I went to school with failed math, because
it helps the entire group help the weakest link in that group. It really does. And sometimes it can be brutal, but nature is brutal.
Right.
It can feel like that sometimes, but that's not, it's nature. It's not,
well, it is that way sometimes, but it's look, nobody on my team failed math, because if one of us got a failing grade, we all ran laps. Like every single person had to run laps, not just that guy. When it's just one person that gets the punishment, nobody cares. When it's everybody that gets the punishment, all of a sudden your self-interest is invoked.
It's a big deal.
And you are not allowing someone to fail math. You're not allowing them to fail a history test. If it takes all of us in shifts to get you up to where you need to be, that's what's going to happen. If your uniform looks like crap because you don't understand how to polish brass, and you don't understand how shoe polish works, or you don't know how to use an iron, somebody is going to teach you all of those things, because none of us wanted to have to do anything extra. First of all, none of us wanted the embarrassment of being called out. And second, none of us wanted the stink of failure on us.
It's going to be your lowest level NCO, and you're going to think that dude hates you, but that dude's literally trying to help you and get you integrated into the entire unit, and get on board. Like here's how to do it. Just,
I mean, I can't say that all of them are, because there are
example you brought up about learning how to iron is the fucking perfect example. Pardon my French. I'm sorry. I'm really trying to not cuss in my middle-aged years, but it just seems to happen so frequently in some of these topics. It's so amazing. Just teaching some adult how to iron something.
Yeah.
It's like the fog of war.
Well, we were getting guys that had never done anything for themselves, right? They'd never done anything for themselves. Their mommies and daddies did everything. They had never had to be responsible for anything. And so when we would get them, when these guys would come to school, I mean, I had guys come onto my team that had never been away from home, ever. Like a sleepover at grandma's, but they had never ever not been around their parents. And when their parents weren't there to pull them out of the fire, I've seen huge, burly, gap, or not gap, I guess, but whatever, fucking, really rich kids just break down and cry.
Grid, you got so close. I was like, there was a joke. If you went one step further, I had a joke for it, but I don't at this point. Please continue.
They just break down and cry because they don't know anything.
They really don't.
They don't know how to. They don't know how to swim.
So
They don't know
cool.
how to mop. They don't know how to sweep. They don't know how to do anything. Know how to do their own laundry. Don't know how to. I mean, you think about this. 4 days a week minimum, you were wearing a dress uniform to class, and then you were changing out of that dress uniform into work clothes, which were, were basically kind of like fatigues, to do whatever to do for the rest of the day. You weren't allowed, and I mean, and you had to do it in a timely manner. You couldn't take an hour to change. You had to. I mean, time was always an issue. I just think it's interesting, the
You-
dynamic that I draw from my schooling and what I'm seeing even in any school today. So,
You want to know a fun thing?
sure, man.
So inside, this is an insider look now. You're getting a glimpse from the inside because I was an instructor on the inside. Inside the Marine Corps, we on the PMI side, that's primary marksmanship instructors, we 100% love students that have never shot ever and have no bad habits, because that means there's nothing to correct.
Mm-hmm.
It's just training new and the Marine Corps way, which, truth be told, is I got out. I've been out since 2008, dude. I was 9/11 to 2008. Since then, I still, every time I've taught somebody, it's been literally the Marine Corps way, and it's 100%. I sometimes even pull out the PowerPoint slides that I used while I was active duty. They were provided. I'm not sure if I'm still supposed to have them or not, but the cocked leg is a thing. But no, 100%. Yeah, not knowing bad habits is a bonus. I don't know where I was going with this.
Ego's a thing that you
It
kind
was
of have
just
to
a
kill.
funsy.
Yeah, ego's kind of a thing you have to kill right out of the gate, and then you can get things over. Which, I mean, it sounds weird, but it
That's
is
with
what it is.
everything. Yeah.
Ghost 1978 blanket party. I can neither confirm nor deny any such things ever happened.
Grid, did you see what I said? What I sent you in just the
I
most
haven't
recent
yet.
DM?
Just give me 1 second. I'm trying to.
I just want to make sure you know.
I'm being technologically challenged right now. Michelle makes a good point too. I'll look at the Discord now.
I'll read Michelle's DM for you while you're doing that.
Go.
Hey, nowadays these people have a God device in their pocket with all the knowledge one could ask for, and they will be willfully ignorant. Michelle, that's a based ass take.
Yeah. Grumpelstiltskin, that's cool, man. Matter of fact, if you guys want to join in or whatever, that's great. And I'm glad you're still streaming from last night. That's awesome. Guys, if you don't know, Grumpelstiltskin has a channel mostly on Twitch. He's just tipping his teeny tipsy toe in the YouTube.
I
So
totally
help
am not
him out.
promoting it up there as
Yeah.
a Twitch channel. But yeah, no, I'm trying to get the YouTube, because the YouTube is like the big pond. That's the big ocean, and that's where the big money is. As long as you don't, dude, I'm trying to be a gun tuber, but not nah. I'm gonna be a workshop tuber. That's where I'm at. Built I'm not. No, I'm I got a Jeep. I'm ready to roll out. I'm gonna do some woodworking, metalworking, plastic working. I don't know. The rules are, you can't do pew-pews on live stream, and that's really shitty, because I have a friggin' Fight Light upper. This is an $8,000 upper receiver. It's a belt fed that I'm gonna do an unboxing for. I can't be live on YouTube for it.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's an interesting thing right now. It really is. Yeah. So, and I kind of digressed away from the main
I'm
subject matter
sorry.
because I think it makes a point. No, you're fine. I think it
I
makes a
went
really
way
good
off rails on
point
this.
in that schools today schools in prior times understood how to make the most of young men. Well, first of all, we were completely segregated from women. There were only 2 women on
How to
campus.
make men. That's no,
Yeah, how to make
you're
men.
on the right track.
And
Continue in that.
not everybody did it, man. Sometimes men failed, right? Sometimes they couldn't make it. They would you couldn't really wash out, but you could flunk out, and you could be whatever. Um, it's an interesting thing. I think that um, it's tough these days. I mean, it just really is because on the one hand, we have a bunch of people who want the government, who have demanded that the government come in and take care of little Johnny, make sure that nobody's going to hurt him and he's getting the best schooling he can get and all this other nonsense. But at the same time, we've taken away a lot of the tools that really molded earlier generations to be awesome.
That would have molded Johnny into being the man he needs
Awesome.
to be after getting all those tools and help that he got.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're in a world of shit right now.
Yeah, we really are. And it's just the thing with kids just bugs me, and pushing them towards drugs and counseling and all of this stuff around the gender change drugs and all of this kind of stuff. It's really, and I talk about this periodically because my kids go through it, and I'm really, I'm really I'm glad that I can afford to send my kids to private schools. I'm glad that I don't have to deal with the public school angst that's out there, and I feel bad for anybody it does. As
Even
far as
in
the gun
Texas, I
too,
have to agree. I'm Grid. Please continue. Just I have to agree with you.
yeah,
My kids are going to private school at the Lutheran church. It doesn't matter how much money I have on hand or where my contract situation is. That's budgeted for the entire year and at least a year out. Because even in Texas, there's from teachers in Austin, there's litter boxes happening in middle and high school girls' rooms from friends of family. This isn't like anecdotal news shit. This is like close to home, which is also still anecdotal, which is not empirical because by nature it's anecdotal. It's a story. Hey, a friend of a family is a teacher in a Austin middle or high school, and they have friggin' litter boxes in the girls' room. That's an anecdote. It 100% is. But that's what's happening right now. Literally. It's not like
yeah,
whatever. It's not just hate craze or whatever. I don't even know what the term they use for any of the shit. I don't pay attention. I'm so
yeah,
not in this. The only reason I even know that is because a friend of the family literally told me, "Yeah, I'm having a hard time with because they're putting litter boxes in the friggin' girls' room and they meow at each other and they hiss and do things."
yeah. I can't get into that, man. We need to go back to
weird.
We really have to go back to, honestly. If in a perfect world, I hate to say this, every young man will go to a male only school, and all young women will go to all girls schools.
In my middle age and or approaching middle age, and I'm definitely middle age now. Yeah, no, I'm on board. That's the best way. Just get them their friggin' learning on.
Let them get into college, then they can figure it out, or they can, they can go to community. We could have community dances again, like we used to in the olden days. I used to go square dancing Saturday
the
nights.
mixers. The square
Mixers,
dancing,
yeah,
100%.
yeah, right,
Sure.
right.
Yeah, just let them focus on get the learning done first,
Yeah,
and
but in
then
school, let them be in school. And if you know
oh,
if boys want to hit on each other with their fists, not their love notes or anything. If dudes want to, kind of throw punches at each other, let
I
them.
only approve of one of those. Guess which one it is?
I don't know.
It was the violence one.
The violence. Yeah, I choose the woke up and chose the violence ones. School choice make prep
Temple wakes
schools
up
a thing
to
again.
violence
I
every
agree with
day.
Adam Ant. I think that's a real thing. Um, I think it's especially a real thing since so much of our property taxes go to pay for schooling. And
I'm on board with hey, why are we doing this?
well,
Uh
Texas is about to get rid of it, right? You and Clover Tax should know about this.
I'm very excited for Texas to not have property taxes anymore. It's been a plan. Greg Abbott, our governor, has been like, hey, fearless leader. He's been very cool on this and very much kind of leading the way. I haven't seen the culmination of it yet. We're close to it where, hey, we're because it has to happen in stages, they say. So kind of like a curtailing of the property tax increases, and then like a plateau of the property taxes, and then suddenly maybe a decrease in the property taxes, and then somewhere after that, eradication of the property taxes via state constitution in Texas, which is the best
Yeah.
country. Anybody is welcome to fight me on this. Texas is the best country.
Yeah.
There is no place to leave from to go to after that. Texas
So
is the last.
what do you think about the prevalence of mind and mood altering drugs being prescribed to kids with
There's
formative
an acronym, but it's tossed on all of the platforms to say what the acronym is.
Mm. Well, that's
Uh,
unfortunate.
Fake, and I'm going to wait a appropriate amount of time. Gay. That's the acronym.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think it's an interesting thing.
Would you like me to do a dramatic reading of your super chat?
Yeah. Mr. comes through on this one. He makes a great. He comments. His comments are usually top shelf, and this
It's so
one
outstanding.
is.
I don't know how to do that with mine. I might need to bug somebody for that. But so Mr. says elimination of gender is a communist movement because it pushes the false equality narrative, which is inherently anti-capitalism. It's how you get gays for Palestine. Based asked Mr. as usual.
Mr. is usually. I mean, he's dialed in. He is. He's really pretty good. Um, so this is actually Ride also makes a great point. You can read that one as well if you like.
Oh no, dude, I got you. I'm in it. This is a value add that a grumble always brings. I'm gonna do a dramatic reading. Oh shit, I have to. My mic is hosed right now. My levels.
Right.
I'm not sounding as good as I could. I apologize for bringing this to you in
Okay,
this shit
sound
state.
fine.
But so Reday, we're gonna say your name or Ride. The point of school is to require minimum education level among all citizens, period. With school choice, you get too much of a mix of different school and you can't maintain that minimum.
See, this I have to take issue with.
I disagree also.
Sorry?
Please continue. I just was tacking on my, flagellum disagreement with the statement after it, but please continue. I'll give my context after.
So when you have throughout history, and now don't worry about the typos, Ride. It's cool, man. I find a little bit of it. I find this your statement a little bit interesting because throughout history, it's not the level of education, minimum or otherwise, that has actually helped people in any way. It's their willingness to learn, to start with, to be honest. Um, and we don't have a minimum level, we're not meeting the minimum level of education, and it keeps changing. I would actually support what you're saying, if we could um, assure that, for example, only necessary subjects like math, reading, um, some literature, science, and basic science at that, and economics, basic economics, I think should be taught. Home ec, I think, or life skills, whatever you want to call it. I think those need to be taught. I have no fucking clue why we teach a foreign language in the United States. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand why we have gender studies. I don't understand why we have any studies related to a specialty group, and beyond state history and national history. I don't understand really why, um, beyond um, third grade, we have any ancient history taught at all. Because if you really want to know about that stuff, you study that in college, or you make a study of it on your own, because we've given you the gifts to learn by teaching you to read and how to study. my tax dollars my tax dollars are not giving people a basic level of education. We're not doing that at all. We have robotics programs in schools. Why? Because robotics are the next wave of the future. Sure, I understand that. Engineering is a great thing, and I think that it should be supported. However, if we're putting in an robot or robotics or STEM course in place of something that maybe is more relevant to actual learning, like English, I feel like I feel like we've gone backwards. When most kids today can't read above a sixth grade level, they can't do math above a third grade level, and they have no idea about actual science. I can't get on board with any of this.
Grit, I gotta just
Hit
say
me with it, man.
the expectation for everything that you're saying, and these lax, and I don't want to say lackadaisical pieces of where youngsters end up, that relies on the expectation of the learning happening earlier when it should be. When I mean, I 100% am on board with, hey, as an elective, yes, learn a foreign language, cool. Just like as an
Yes.
elective, learn to harness electricity, the power of Thor, the lightning god from the cartoons.
Sure.
Yeah, just like me, you can learn to do that too. Or you can even take it a step further and learn to use it to make communication happen over long distances.
Agricultural science. I'm behind that.
It's there's a disconnect in what's happening at lower level and higher level.
Mhm.
Hang on, the Mr. I'll hang on. I got.
Yeah, I think this is a good one to read, and then there's another one by Adamant that's relevant. So.
Yeah, I'll do both of them. Just give me just a moment. I have to breathe just a moment.
Yeah, prepare yourself.
I'm preparing myself. There is some chat going in your side chat, not mine, because mine's empty, but your side chat. Mister. In the military, I did accounting for the Pentagon and OPSEC. Operational security, you might say. I added that. It's my job to always point out the most destructive threat. He says, the commies are behind every worse motive currently.
Flawless
That's
victory.
true. Mister, are you my friend elsewhere?
You should be friends.
Adamant. No, I just talk about a lot of like security risk stuff, or I try to. I don't usually. It usually ends up being video games or degeneracy, unless I get into like weird stuff because I haven't moved the streaming rig into the workshop part of the bunker yet. After 5 years, I'm still not doing it. It's so weird. But so Adamant. Screw a government mandated minimum. I'll determine what's important for my children together with like minded individuals of my community. Adamant, based ass comment, and I agree with you and I like you. And hey, we can all be friends. I can't put things into your side chat in this call right here. Do I tried to when I was trying to let you know that I'm live.
Just open up a YouTube link and do it there.
No, in the stream
In the
side
private?
thing. Yeah, well, wait, can I?
Yeah, you click private, and then yep, there you go.
Oh no, okay. I don't need if I can send them I don't need mods or like anything in your stuff as long as I can send a message.
He's very good at technology.
I was bad at I'm bad at everything.
Yeah.
I have a resume and I do no network. No, calm guys. Regressing. Stop it. Shush. No, we're not talking about what I do for work at all.
Paisley's kind of stuck on the litter boxes. If they are putting litter boxes in the kids' restroom because they identify as cats, I'm totally not buying that. I wouldn't buy that either. I think that's really bad.
Okay, so Paisley and Gooch won Motorsports. I have to tell you, this is a thing that has happened in Austin, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
In Texas.
Well, it's
I
Austin.
have to emphasize again.
It's California East.
Yeah, it's Austin. It's no, Austin isn't California, Stan. It's Portlandia light. Not even light either. But it's no. California doesn't even get close to the degeneracy that's in Austin. It's Portland, Oregon. There's a comedy show of Portlandia. I didn't like it at first because I was like, oh, this is horrible. But then when I understood, it was okay. Fred Armisen and Carrie Fisher. I'm not sure. It's not Princess Leia. It's another chick named Carrie something or other. It's mostly them doing skits. Get the gear. I love it. The name of the show is Portlandia, and it's like, oh, you're talking about some things that I think actually happened in Austin, the bookstore with the lesbians that owned it, and oh wow, this is so weird and breaking the fourth wall, and oh man, chicken eggs and
litter boxes in Bedford High School in Michigan too.
Oh, Ghost. I'm sorry.
That's furries. Got furries. Guys, we are in the last hour and a half. The monologue was over a little bit ago, but if you guys if we have callers that would like to come up and chat, that's great. Bjorn Balassi says that, welcome, Jorn. Says, and Virginia. So crazy stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry, Grid. I didn't mean to interrupt your.
Oh, you're totally cool, dude. I wouldn't have let you. It would have been fine. It's in all the big cities, not Austin, according to my inside sources.
Yeah, no, those sources are correct.
Yeah.
I was trying to downplay it because, pride out of Texas, but there's so much degeneracy and we can't contain it. It feels like a virus.
It does very much feel like a virus.
To me, anyway. I mean, I don't.
No, I think you're right. So, guys, if we have anybody that would like to come up and chat and hang out, and
Don't
all
be
of
scared. Crumple will not actually eat you. He'll just pretend to.
that, well, that's true. That's true.
Cannibalism is not encouraged in this context.
Yeah. Yep. It's an interesting thing, you know. It's the school system which we pay for. Yeah, what's crazy about this. All right, look, I get it. If it's a company somewhere and they want to do it and it's their money and their policies and their all that nonsense, you know what? You want to have his, her, and undecided restrooms. Totally cool. That's an Ally McBeal thing from back in like the 90s. Whatever. That's cool.
Oh,
If
dude, you're right around the same age as me. Do you remember? Okay, so Quake 3 Arena, the video game Quake.
Yeah.
Doom. Okay, so Quake 3, the beta of it, Quake 3 Arena, there was no storyline. It was just a multiplayer like slugfest.
Mm.
The thing that I have to share with the class is in the beta of it. There was a bunch of different models that you could have, and one of them was a skeleton. Okay, so you had some people that chose to be the skeleton running around. At the time, the Ally McBeal show was a thing going on. I'm gonna bring it around. Give me just a moment.
No, you're good.
So the funniest thing that I've seen in a video game ever or in real life ever is still one of the funniest things that I count in my entire life is some idiot in this game chose the skeleton, not class, but model for the Quake 3 Alpha, Quake 3 Arena Alpha test game. And I encountered this person and we were jumping between platforms, and I jump and look and see the name above the skeleton, and it says Callista Flockhart.
That's funny. Callista
I lost my shit. This was the late 90s. This was before I joined the Marine Corps. I was in the dorms in college at the time. I had run the networking for the entire building. I was playing a game and I see that shit. Funniest thing ever for me at the time, and still, skeleton named Callista Flockhart, aka Ally McBeal. If nobody else finds it funny, I don't care. I'm live.
I mean, anything with
platforms.
just
Grid is
saying
live
the
here.
name Callista
It's
Flockhart
still-
is funny enough. Just saying the name is funny.
She was a tiny person.
Oh yeah,
Also.
she was like
She
100
very
pounds.
small.
Yeah.
I mean, she was 100 pounds if she was lucky, soaking wet.
Yeah. Stank D worked for Triple Canopy for 2 years. Good work environment. Yeah,
Oh,
I knew
Triple
some of the- I knew
Canopy,
some-
you say? Oh, maybe we know some of the same people. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
knew
I
some
don't
people
want to
that-
talk to you about it though. Don't talk
He's
to me about it.
probably commenting because I'm wearing my Blackwater hat today. It's a relic of history. No longer exists. And I did not actually work for Blackwater. I had friends that did, and I took the hat. So
the company that previously way back was Blackwater. The company changed names and reformed so many times. Remember XE? It was XE one time. I think they're back to like. I'm not sure if currently. I think they're back to where Blackwater is like a company again.
they're now something else. They're called, and I just had this the other day. It's not Triple C anymore. It's
It doesn't matter. I didn't.
Yeah, it'll change again. Don't worry. Just
yeah, it'll as soon as any incident happens. Don't worry. The entire name of the company is gonna. That's the business model of
Phalanx.
that
Is
type
it
of-
Phalanx? It's not Phalanx.
Phalanx sounds like it might have been a thing that it might have been them.
I don't know. Mr. If you want to come up, that's fine. We can talk about the various lawsuits in Fulton and Loudoun counties, which ones we think will go forward, which ones will not. We could talk about the Dem senatorial candidate, I think, calling
Probably
out
no.
her competition for saying that she lived in too nice a neighborhood or something. I thought that was really funny when I saw that. They're both Democrats and they both live in very wealthy areas, shockingly. And yeah, it's
But they don't do that. That's silly.
yeah, they do.
Oh,
And if anybody else wants to come up really quick for a few mementos, Academy. That's what it is. It's Academy now with an I, not a Y, not like Academy Sports or anything. But
from Blackwater /XEZ or whatever, or she. I guess if you're using Chinese pronunciation.
Someone take a picture of any drop box open in Atlanta, and they're in serious trouble. I haven't been to Atlanta in a while. So yeah. There we go. Please give a rundown of the Loudoun suit. I haven't heard that one yet. Joe Mobley can probably help. I know that Fulton County has sued, and Loudoun, I think, was either going to sue or they were on the edge of it. Yeah, Mr. will come up and talk about it. Can somebody please give Mr. a link? I'm kidding. I think he's like right here. So yeah, just throw that out there. He'll get so many links he won't be able to stand it.
Like sausage links.
Yeah, like sausage links. That's what we're talking about.
Obviously, I mean.
So Grumple, have you been following any of the debate sphere? Have you watched any of the cool guys talking about why the Dems are going to win or why the Dems are going to lose or anything like that?
The funny thing, Grid, I've been in the debate sphere for like 5 or 6 years, and I got burnt the fuck out. I've been more just having conversations with people, like doing other things. Mostly what I do in my content is I try and explain or do things in like a let's do a common sense risk assessment for how this affects you. But hey, we got Mr. here. Let's not worry about Grumple. What Grumple does.
Hey, what's up?
Let's Mr. now. What's up, sexy trousers?
Yeah.
Sly minx.
Sexy trousers. I'm gonna guys. If Imperius will behave, he can come up for like 5 minutes or so. Not that I believe he'll behave.
Well, he's a lawyer, I think. So I mean, he does have insight into these lawsuits.
Yeah, he might actually have some insight into this. So come on, Imperius can come up as long as he behaves himself.
The Fulton County one in particular is funny to me because the hypocrisy of what happened in 2020 is happening again in 2024. So, for them and them claiming to be so smart about everything they're doing, they're pulling the same crap over again. So now it's getting halted in all over the place because we see it coming.
But why? Hey, just quick question. Why do you call it hypocrisy when everybody knows they're going to do it?
I call it hypocrisy because January 6th happened because of what happened in Pennsylvania. And there's multiple lies going around in these debates.
Wait, do you mean when Pennsylvania illegally, according to the Constitution, changed the way that they count votes? because
Yes.
that's the thing
They
that
did, and
people
courts have
don't
ruled that
talk about so much.
since. Like
And
currently,
I don't know what the current status is. It sounds like Grid is talking about it. I don't know what the current status is about how it ended up, because that's going to make a very big difference in if Pennsylvania gets a blue or red in this election for the president.
Well, now there's multiple counties in Pennsylvania that found, you know, fraudulent stuff going on.
You
Let's just
don't
say,
say.
and
Totally
yeah,
unexpected. There was fraud. Oh,
well,
they
the Pennsylvania case is really interesting because everything that Trump said that was denied by the governor of Pennsylvania and initially overturned by their courts has since been reexamined, reversed, and upheld that Trump was right. And now, and that's one of the reasons why we are probably going to win in Pennsylvania is because of the way they changed the law.
they're getting stopped all over the place, and
that was my
it's a good
thing.
thing. But
Well, you and I
it's
had
being
this
exposed.
conversation earlier, Mr. Mister, about how the we had this conversation a few months ago about how, and you and I both have seen some of the same cases, and I know that I've probably seen one or two. You haven't. You've obviously watched a lot closer than me and probably seen more than I have. But what we both had seen was the in the mayoral and gubernatorial races during the midterms, the Dems they tried to cheat. And I think they tried to cheat on purpose to see what they could get away with. And they got caught in the very places they're getting caught now, Vermont, Virginia, and Atlanta.
Right.
They got caught in each place. And so I
That
think
feels
that,
intentional.
yeah, I think it was intentional because they were testing the system to see if they could get away with it without a COVID in place. The only reason that they were able to cheat so bad the last time is because COVID was all of the shutdowns and all of that were in place, and so the number of poll sitters, poll watchers, people, literally sitting outside of polling centers all night and videotaping everyone that came and went. That could not happen in and basically in every place they won last time. That couldn't happen without COVID being in place.
This ties into my next point about why it is in these debates, and I scream from the chat about this all the time, why they refuse to define what an insurrection is. And the reason for that is because if you Google what the definition of an insurrection is, it's the violent uprising.
It makes a big difference.
Yes. So my point with that is they bring up this narrative of Trump sending false electors, and what my answer to that is nobody's asked these moron lefty debaters if these electors were violent, because it does not qualify the definition of what insurrection is. And the reason why I keep bringing this up is because once he wins, and he's going to win, Raskin, and we've talked about this in your show before about a month ago, they will move to impeach him and claim that he's an insurrectionist. And the reason why I say that is because the Supreme Court ruled that only Congress, and this is in the Constitution, by the way, they tried to stay out of it, and people thought they ruled on it, but they really didn't. It's up to Congress vote to deem a president an insurrectionist. And so my thing is, we have to win not only the presidency, but we have to win the Senate too, which I think we are, but they're still going to try it. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I agree with that. But here, let me throw this out there and let me run this by you, okay? So I've heard every conceivable dirty trick that they might conceivably pull, right? I mean, doing the same thing with the electors. Now, the one thing about the electors, it always kind of gets me a little salty when Dems pull out the fake electors. He did not pull out fake electors. He pulled out alternative electors, which is in the Constitution. It's written into the election statutes specifically for times when the original electors are, I don't know, compromised or whatever.
Sometimes they die along if I may grid for just a moment, during the time when the Constitution was written, and around that time, so electors traveling to the place of getting counted, they could possibly die and just vanish from reality and become like a little puddle on the side of the road. The survival is not guaranteed. Only gone back in time once. Don't must bring your own weapons. Only done this once. That was literally the entire thing. For if you're going to be an elector for a state or a colony at the time to bring to the federal election, your safety was not guaranteed at all.
Right.
And the remnants of that exists in the law still.
Well, I mean, but it's also, that electors can become compromised. I think Trump had a legitimate concern, still do, that the electors had been poisoned against him, and that even if he had won his appeals, that they would not certify the election for him. And so while I don't agree with necessarily all of the rhetoric behind it, I certainly can agree. I certainly see where Trump was coming from. It's one of those. It's a shotgun pattern of the legal system, right? You only have X amount of time. So rather than try one thing at a time and wait 3 months for this verdict, and then, okay, we didn't win on that, we're going to try this now. He's just like, we're throwing everything out now. I don't agree with it. I understand it. It is what it is.
I like it.
But what the Dems are doing is worse. They're literally saying that their current goal, it seems like, is to literally, it's a word I'm looking for here.
Fuck everybody.
No, they're literally their goal is to literally create an electoral tie, and the VP, which is Kamala currently, is the tiebreaker, and she would determine who becomes president. And that's their strategy right now, because I think they've come to terms with the fact that they cannot actually win outright.
Hey, Grid, I got a super silly question. Can you tell me the answer to this? So, Kamala Harris is the current vice president of the United States. If there comes a situation where, the Senate can't get to a majority and it's split 50-50, the president of the Senate, which is the vice president of the United States, is the one who casts the final tie-breaking vote. What in the fuck happens if it gets to where, hey, who's the next president of the United States, and it's up to the current VP to decide that? Can you explain what happens in that case to me? Because I'm an idiot.
Apparently, she becomes president. That's what happens.
Oh, that's super interesting.
Yeah, and that seems to be the.
I'm sorry, I had a better setup in my head. I didn't.
No, there's another clause about the House as well. So what happens is the House votes on it, I believe, and
Article 2, Section 3. The House would decide if it was a tie in the Electoral College.
Yes. Yep. And the House is majority Republican, which is interesting because in a year where it matters so much, okay, we have 4 retirees or drops from the Republican Party in the House. You have what's his name? Ken Buck. He got pissed. He's like, I'm out. I forget the other. There's a couple other ones, but Imperius is right. It's like we the anti-Trump right, which is an actual thing. they're pushing just as hard to not let them in. You know.
Well, the thing is that it's about conformity. You have to understand the system needs to just keep going the way it is so that they can keep getting rich and rich and pulling and extracting resources and distributing it to other countries. See, the big issue that people don't talk about here is really the diplomatic and trade negotiations that go around. The reason they can't have Trump in there is because they need presidents who will enact trade agreement or who will abide by trade agreements that aren't enacted by Congress. Like what you need. So so for example, the issue is that you would have, for example, if Kamala gets in, the first thing they're going to sign is a type of trans-Pacific partnership deal. Is the first thing they're going to do.
No,
when
like
she gets
the TTP thing.
Yeah, but it won't be called that. But it'll be that same type of idea. To extract wealth, because then you can have rich Vietnamese businessmen come into California and push all the small mom and pops out. You can have the big businessmen from California push into Vietnam and Korea, push all their small businesses out, and then you have an international trade or pretty much a trade standard that the only businesses there are in the world are large conglomerates. That would be their first bill they'd enact, I would think, because the entire issue with Trump is the fear that markets will close, because all these trade agreements that we have with Europe, with Asia, these are all these aren't affirmed by Congress. These aren't actual trade agreements that are on our books. These
are
just
all contingent upon like nobody else knowing about them, that you have this deal with somebody.
and all contingent on. Sorry, go ahead.
They're all executive orders, aren't they? There's no like.
Well, they're not even executive orders. They're not even executive orders. They're just these agreements that we just go by when there's no legal backing or any kind of consequences for not following. Like you could tomorrow, like that's the thing. A lot of trade agreements that we have, you could just walk away from. A president could just unilaterally walk away from because they aren't ratified by Congress. And that's the big issue, because you need, for all of these these corporations and all these really wealthy interests, you need the markets open to keep extracting wealth. And that's their big fear of him. That's why the whole tariff thing is the biggest fear they're pushing is tariff. You're gonna cause an economic destruction, because for them it would cause an economic destruction, because it would force capital to come back to the United States instead of leaving.
Well, have you heard the rhetoric about how our deficit is? It's not bad for us to have this huge deficit because that's the amount of credit we have with the world and wealth that we have. Have you heard that?
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is wealth. It's all like a theoretical. That's the thing. I mean, real wealth, if you really thought about it, would be connected to a physical object. But since everything we have is theoretical and kind of up in the air and based off of I mean, you're pretty much inventing money, and then you're doing derivatives on money. Yeah. So it's all an abstract. It's all an abstract, and that's the issue, is that the entire world economy goes to crap if you just all you have to identify wealth, and it has to correspond to actual physical objects. That would be the end of the world economy. Oh, because there is nothing actually. There is money out there that's not actually built or based on anything. There's nothing being built.
Put on your back.
Yeah,
you can't.
I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, he wants
things like that.
They don't want Trump to be able to just go, okay, if Congress doesn't pass what I want, I'm just going to walk away from these trade agreements, and all you people, all the representatives and senators that get really rich off their investments from these capital lobbies that invest in that have interests in those agreements would be screwed.
No, I don't think you understand. He has them by the balls. Actually, now have a target on you.
Yeah, he has them. He has them by the balls.
No, not him. No, not him. You.
Now I'm wealthy enough. I'm in that group. I don't care. That's not an issue. The issue is this: it's like this is not unknown to anybody. Like if anybody has any kind of like insight on actual, if you deal with trade across borders, they would know that this is the big fear, is that you can funnel money and and pretty much launder money all throughout the world, because you have these these unratified trade agreements that there's no congressional oversight over, there's no executive oversight over, there's nothing over them.
It's true.
So you can just funnel money. Just
Do whatever
funnel
you want.
money. Yeah. And that's why they're scared. It has nothing to do with social things or war or power. They're just mad that he has them by the balls now. Because if he goes in there now and says, look, the budget that's going to be passed for 2025, what's going to be included there is any city, state, or territory or region that enacts any kind of sanctuary city, transgender, all that is going to be, all funding will be removed from that state. All federal funding will, and that he has them by the balls because they can't, for their own self-interest, fight against that, because then he pulls their direct monetary assets through those agreements. But then they can't agree with him by doing that either, because if he pushes the social agenda, they lose their voting base, which gets them to enact power to funnel the money. So it for them, it's a lose-lose, and that's why they're terrified.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of just plain bad. So, what do you know anything about the cases in Loudoun and Fulton counties?
Well, I know that I read the Fulton. I read the complaint for the Fulton, the federal suit on
that one's so bad, so bad. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going
to
to work. It's just not going to work. I mean, unfortunately, in Georgia, you have a problem where the Republican establishment, Ratzenberger and Cox, agree with what the Democrats are arguing. So you're going to have an issue where the state itself is going to side with the plaintiffs or with the defendants on it. So I just don't see how a federal, I mean, it may be the right thing to do, but a federal judge is not going to intervene right now when the state's infrastructure, voting infrastructure, as well as the state representatives are agreeing to the very things the Democrats want. It's just, it's what happens very often too. It's going on. I think it's in Arizona right now, where what happens is people think that a court case is always adversarial when it's not always like that. So what they'll do is, as a county will go into court and file suit against a voting, whatever, some kind of voting issue, okay, or some kind of nonprofit or something about how they collect votes and stuff. And you'd think that would be like an adversarial, like the county suing the. Well, it's not really what's happening. What they do is they then go to a binding agreement through negotiations that helps them both, but that sides with the Democrats on what they want. And then the county or jurisdiction just goes, oh, we're bound by an agreement. Can't go to court and stop it. Can't put an injunction. We agreed.
Okay.
That's what happens.
I'm sorry, I can't find how to deal with them. I have to close it. Maybe.
So like you'll have, you might have Fulton County just agree with the DOJ to just extend it for 5 extra days instead of 7, and then they'll come to an agreement, and then it'll be a moot case in front of the federal court.
So let me expand on this for a second. So Fulton County in particular, Georgia, what they were saying was that they opened in-person hand-in ballots, right? And by law, what happens is they can't do that while they have open ballot returns out in the region. So that's why I put in chat, if anyone has a picture in Georgia, in Atlanta specifically, of an open drop box, they're in direct violation of the judge's ruling. So
yeah, but he didn't actually rule that. What he said, if you're talking about the state court, what he said, the state court was a little bit of a different suit. I think it was actually that the GOP was suing to force Fulton County to hire GOP overseers because they only hired 47 and they hired 62 Democrat overseers.
That was part of it, but the other part was that that was definitely part of it. They were pissed off about that.
And then the extension of the non-signature hand-ins of the mail-in ballots is what the other issue was. If I remember correctly, it was that they wanted to extend it through Sunday, I think, from this last Friday through Sunday for mail-in ballots to be handed in. Now, the problem you're going to have there is, even though it's against the law, it may be dictatorially against the law. The problem is it's been a normal course of events for the last 4 elections in Georgia that's occurred. So that's why the judge ruled. He said, and Raffensperger already, he put his deposition already stated that that's a normal occurrence in Georgia. So it's just not, you're not going to get any kind of injunction on that. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I mean, what
man.
it really comes down
So-
to, I mean, if you lose the election, we know what happened. I mean, women voted. That will be the issue of why Trump lost the election. It will only be off of the single issue that it is the only issue Americans care about, unfortunately.
From 2017 or 2018?
No, abortion and free sex is the only.
Did you?
No, I mean hunting with a
did you-
boomerang.
No, but I mean, unfortunately, the only issue anyone cares about is.
Isn't that the only issue women care about?
Well, yeah, because women are sex objects, the only thing they'll care about is something associated with being a sex object.
Is hunting with a boomerang that's being a sex object? Oh man.
No, I mean anything they do. I mean,
Maybe
they're
the
very.
actual link for what's in Grid's chat there. I don't know, dude. I don't have anything to help you on that one.
Quiet patriot. Look at him down there talking
Well,
shit like always.
Last time Georgia lost, or Republicans lost by 11,779, and there was a guy in the Fulton County Board of Elections, Mark Wingate, which I tried putting in Destiny's chat, and every time I tried it, he just ended his stream.
Oh,
But he said that Mark Wingate, that currently, meaning as of today, he's still waiting on signature verification for over 140,000 2020 ballots. And
Well, yeah, there were also
nobody gave a shit.
200,000 ballots. There were also 200,000 ballots that they couldn't find the images of on their digital database from 2020. That
Yeah.
apparently none of them had signatures, and they couldn't be verified. But somehow 220,000 signatures or images just disappeared off of the database. So, I mean, it's going to happen again. I mean, that's the thing. What in the end, you got to realize. I mean, and this is. I mean, I'll just be frank here. The reality is that 95 to 97% of Americans and people in general only care about effing. And if they can find a way to F, that's all they want. And see, that's the thing. We've de-evolved. See, that's what people don't realize. We've devolved as a species. We are now more enslaved to our basic primal instincts than we have been in 1,000 years, I'd argue. And because of that, if people don't see, that's the thing. I don't think a lot of us in general understand the lengths human beings will go to convince themselves that as long as they can get immediate satisfaction for immediate impulses, they're fine with things. I believe that most Americans would be okay living in a mud hut with no electricity or water if they just saw pussy all day. That would be my hypothesis.
What? Let me ask something real quick. Did you do you have any update on the New York appeal case? I'm sorry to jump all over the place. I'm just trying to use
which one?
I'm just trying to. Now that you're here, I'm just trying to use your knowledge. The Trump one for the
well, there's a couple.
I haven't heard.
There's the judgment for the civil liabilities, one for the sexual assault accusation, and then there's the other one regarding the business venture with
specifically the campaign finance one, because that's the one that they think they're going to get him on, which I don't think they're going to. But that's the big one that they're all crying about.
The one that was in front of the appeal court. Yeah, that's going to be it. I mean, they're not going to rule on it till after the election. See, this is the thing. Why Trump's for his own ass is so his ass is on the line for us right here, because remember, I think November 16th is the hearing date for his New York trial.
Yeah,
is his sentencing, and then I think they Chutkin wanted to put, I think December 2nd or 3rd was opening briefs, I think, for his criminal trial in DC. So you got to if he loses, he's in jail for the rest of. He's going to die in jail.
Oh man.
No, it's true.
That's
He's going to
not
die in
really
jail.
a
He's
thing
not.
that can happen, though. I mean,
Oh yeah, I
think in
can.
reality for a moment. No.
Oh no, yeah, I
Come on.
can. Oh,
Donald
if
Trump
he gets,
getting
if he loses,
convicted
no, if
and
he
being
loses, if he loses, they'll put him in federal prison and they'll just isolate a wing and he'll die in prison.
Wait, do you think that's a legit, like in real
Yeah.
real world
Yes, I'm being
possibility that
100% real.
happens?
Yes, yes.
You think
yes.
that Donald Trump going behind bars is like a real
Yes,
possibility?
I think they will put his kids behind bars and his all his. I think they will put all of them behind bars.
That I mean,
They
imperial.
Why would you think they
them.
would? Why would you think they wouldn't do that?
Because they have Secret Service protection. I mean, just as a first.
But that
just
doesn't
like
mean
right
that the Secret Service isn't like his own personal bodyguard.
No, it
They
literally is.
they follow no they aren't. No, they are under the
No,
Department
it
of
is.
Justice's purview. And if the Secret Service's order, and they'll be hit with him in an isolated wing, but he will be in that wing for the rest of his life.
So you agree with me?
I didn't say he would
I knew
die. I
you'd
said
get
he would
there.
die in prison,
Cool.
as in he will be in prison for the rest of his life.
No,
Yeah,
no. Donald Trump is never going to be behind bars ever.
They
Why?
did subpoena. They did subpoena his kids multiple
Why would
times.
what would be the political ramification if they win this election? Why would they not? What would be the political fallout of that? They've just won everything they want. And they have everything. If they win this election, it's over, dude.
Yeah,
When you
gotta
say
realize
if
it's over.
they win this, hang on, just so everybody's clear. When you say if they win this election, who are you talking about?
I would say the
Democrats, Republicans.
that
The
I mean
party,
some
just saying.
Republicans too. It's
Who's
the
the party
uniparty.
that you
The
say?
uniparty. The uniparty.
Well, I mean, yes, everybody's aware of the uniparty, but which side of it are you talking about specifically?
Both sides. There's both sides. That's the thing. There are both sides. It doesn't matter. You need enough
I can
senators.
identify
You
them.
need enough senators.
Anti-populist. Anti-populist is the answer you're looking for in a nutshell.
Yeah,
Generally,
more of a-
it's more than that, but yeah, anti-populist. Go ahead, Imperius. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good identifier. I think a good base of who, if you wanted to just take a temperature test, it would be people who were kind of like, oh no, America's not superior. America's not the best country in the world. You know, those kind of things. We need to work with our allies and that kind of nonsense. That would be but I need people to really understand if they're going all in for. Let's look at their political their political perception. They were able to push somebody in that everybody a year ago hated, who gave her like a 15% approval rating. If they're able to shove her in
60% approval rating in her own party.
Yeah, 16%. Yeah, there you go, 15, 16, whatever, same thing. And
60, negative 60s.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, she had. I think it was a positive, like 16%. I think her thing was like 16% positive of her own, of about a year ago.
Thank you for following.
And the thing is if they are able to just shove her in there with a month before, and do what they did, control the media, and then change everyone's brain around, and she wins, they have everything. There is nothing more they need. What more do they need if somebody that has no qualifications, that had no campaign, that didn't have to do anything, they just put her in and she wins? Why would you not think they can implement everything they want? Well, they've obviously won.
You want to hear so here's my opinion. I think that they knew that she was going to lose. They're just shocked at how close she's going to come to winning. And that's going to make them even more bold.
Well, did you read the internal memo? I'll try to find it on. Buddy sent it to me. This internal memo by the Democrats looks real. They're terrified of the Pennsylvania vote right now. They said if they have less than a 500, I think they said 550,000 vote advantage by the end of today, they don't think they can win. And they're only at like 4, I think.
Remember we said that, Grid? They never left PA the whole time. We talked about this last month.
Yeah, Trump did it right. He stayed in Pennsylvania.
They needed PA, but they weren't. The problem is that without the judges, I hate to use the term gerrymandering, but that's kind of what it was. Without the judge basically telling everybody that it's tough, we don't care what your we don't care about any of this. You're just going to have to suck it up. Without that, they really don't have anything, you know, like they kind of had to have it. They kind of had to have it that way. And so when we're talking about all this, right, like it's, you know, and certainly it's a I don't know, what am I trying to think of here? Crap, I can't even think right now. It's a it's kind of a man. Like I'm
It's a
having
conundrum.
You're saying the
It's a
judge?
kaleidoscope of. It's a kaleidoscope conundrum.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just ridiculous, man. Because look, you have this judge, or it wasn't even just a judge. It was in the court basically said that, well, it doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't actually matter that none of the things that you said are wrong. We're just not going to allow you to vote, or pardon me, to deny these votes because we're just saying it's okay.
Well, it was such a wild
was
west in 2020 that no court was, because
Right.
of the situation, no court was going to stand up and put themselves in the crosshair and be like, I'm going to be the one to stop the whole trend of not allowing anyone to do anything they want, because this is just an unprecedented thing and we just got to go with it and do whatever happens. That was kind of the idea in 2020, and that was the perfect game. Was it's such a big monumental situation that's going on with COVID that we have to take the beyond the pale approach.
I mean,
to
it's
make
just
it so that anyone can vote for the most. If I wanted to go online and I just wanted to email you and say I vote this way, we should allow that.
right. And and the thing is that even though it was absolutely unconstitutional, and it has the what is really annoying is that the court ruled, I think 6 or 8 months ago, that it was in fact unconstitutional. And the whole time that Trump was saying that, everybody gave him crap for, you know, he was lying about Pennsylvania. He couldn't take it that Pennsylvania was not with him or whatever. And it was so crazy, man. Like, it was so hard to watch. You have this court, these judges just basically lying even to themselves. Is nuts. It's crazy.
Well, they were afraid, dude. That's the thing. That you gotta it was the entire. I mean, relatively, a judge has no real power unless the force that the judge orders and acts on that order.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the thing is the government was just not going to allow anything to come in the way of, we got to get this sumbitch out. We're going to make it so that everyone can vote any way they want, and we're going to make it, we can't allow him after, because they knew that this was the opportunity. The COVID excuse was the opportunity to make the largest wealth transfer in human history.
Right.
They couldn't let that go. They could not let that pass by. And so they had to. That's what 2020 was more important than this election. Right now, what they're doing a lot is putting some bulwarks in. They're assuming that Trump's going to win. So that's why you're hearing them talk about right now, Secretary of States and Democrats saying, we're already putting together suits for if he tries to deport people or tries to do mass deportations or anything about funding for sanctuary. They're already putting lawsuits together. So day one, that's the thing. They're already prepared to lose, but they're going to lose and reposition their forces in a way to bind everybody so that they have a parameter where even if we push back and try to push against what they've done the last 4 years, we won't get rid of all of it. And so then they'll get in 4 years and then just finish the rest of it off.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I just think it's
that's why what they're going to do is they're going to try to, like, for example, the moment Trump gets in on January 21st, I think. Is it 21st? Yeah, 21st. At midnight. they'll have a suit filed with, you know, district courts in California, New York, Indiana, or not Illinois, enjoining him from doing anything in regards to deportation. And then when you appeal it, the circuit courts, if it's a liberal circuit court, they'll hold the case for a couple years and just allow they'll just allow the
clock to run out.
Well, no. What they'll do is they'll allow the injunction against Trump to stay in there for 2 years. Then they'll finally hear the case in 2 years. Then it'll take another year to rule on it, and then finally Trump will be out of office. It's the same thing they're doing with all the gun. It's the same thing they're doing with the gun cases since Bruin. They just won't hear them.
Yeah. Well, I think that that's really likely, guys. I haven't. The reason I was kind of weirded out there a couple of minutes ago is I have an alert that popped up on my screen through my scheduler that basically says I actually have a meeting right now, which I am not going to be in, but I have to go and do some damage control because I don't normally schedule anything on Monday because of this stream, but somehow I fucked up and I did. So I apologize. I apologize for it. It's pretty lame of me to do. I'm really sorry. If everybody just wants to give their final words, I'll close this thing down.
Yeah, I just want to say, everyone, like I said, right now, worrying about all these cases and this, it's really in the hands of God right now. You can't worry about it. You can't control it. Nothing right now anyone's going to do is going to change things or alter. It is in the hands of God, and if we're faithful people, you got to put your faith in that things will be fine either way. We need to have faith in what matters. And like I said, don't worry about these cases, voting, signature. Right now, be calm, say a prayer, put your faith where it matters, and it'll work out okay. All right.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say. Have a good day, guys. I'll see you soon. Good.
See you.
Well, I would just say, if he wins the popular vote, all that other stuff goes out the window. So if you're in a blue city, my message is, or in a blue state, vote anyway. Just vote anyway. With that being said, I'm going to jump down. Thanks for having me up, and I'll talk to you guys soon. All right.
Yeah. Grumple Stillskin, if I could wake you for just 1 minute. Grumple. All right. Well, Grumple will figure it out when he wakes up. Guys, I've got to go. I'm sorry, Mr. Boulay. I'm sorry, Mr. Boulay, that you didn't make the entire show. Whose accounts are not showing up? Whose account's not showing up, guys? Before I go. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I didn't actually see you either. So yeah, it might be. I know that Anson had something happen. I thank Ranger and Roger. We'll go ahead and kick him out. He's that poor lad, poor Imperious, put him to sleep. Guys, I do have to go. I'm actually, I don't know if I'm actually going to make it this meeting, but I got to apologize no matter what. Michelle, also known as Niakas, I will 100% check into the shadow ban thing. I don't know what's going on with the shadow ban stuff going on. I think Anson is kind of shadow banned. So we'll work it out. Well, guys, see you Wednesday night. We do have special guest Scott from Fabian Liberty. He's going to have it's going to be a great show. He's an ANCAP. We're going to have a great discussion about what that is, what that means to him, his perception of how the election went, and everything else. It's going to be really great. Hope to see you all here. Tell a buddy, bring a friend, and I'm going to leave you guys. I'm not going to send you anywhere. I don't have anything set up, and I can't take time to do it. I'm going to leave you guys with Andrew Wilson laughing at stupid people.
Yeah, I just answered your question. Can you tell me what epistemology means?
Epistemology is the study of the epistles. I mean, you can. I told me that a husband and wife is supposed to be the representation of God and the church. He said he's a husband. I asked him if he sees himself as the embodiment of God, and he said no. That doesn't make any sense.
Wait, what is the epistles?
The epistles are the apostles. Are you talking about the apostles?